Greetings, YouTube. There are a lot of stealth heroes and villains in comics and comic book movies. There are people that just don't look like they have superpowers. Peter Parker blends right in without his costume. Almost all the X-Men do. But there are superheroes and villains that very much don't blend in. I mean, not everyone's Lex Luthor, who's just a bald dude. Some people are blue, or they have white skin like an albino, and yet they're not albinos, or they're 9 feet tall or made out of rock. But there's lots of times when people who have certain physical differences just kind of blend in to society at large. Like the classic Penguin, how the hell did he just blend in into the community at large? Or the example that inspired this video, Harley Quinn. Now, Harley Quinn is bleach white and wears her hair in a rainbow plethora of different colors, which is fine. But she's also really famous. She's the girlfriend of a psychotic crime boss. Now, he also can't blend in, and yet no one seems to be able to capture either of them. The cops can't touch them. Maybe that's because he pays off people. But there aren't even bounty hunters going after these folks. At least not normally. And I don't get it. Ordinary people get found out all the time. But they have the advantage of looking like ordinary people. If you don't look like an ordinary person, how am I supposed to believe you're blending in? Particularly when you are such an out and proud individual as Harley Quinn. And I got no problem with her being out and proud. I have a problem with the fact that, she is a murderer. And that's not good. And she is a danger to the public at large, because she is. But how do they just hide? We, the reader or viewer, are just supposed to ignore the fact that this person's walking around in broad daylight, is known by the community at large, by the name they use as a villain, and yet no one's touching them. Now, Harley Quinn could go straight, only not straight in the sense that no longer breaking the law if she wanted to, after she paid her debt to society. Though that could take decades, actually. Now that I think about it, she has committed a lot of crimes. So maybe she couldn't go so straight easily. But if she'd gone straight earlier in her career, after, say, she broke away from the Joker, say, before she became a murderer, she could go straight. In the comics and in the films, she's a very attractive person. She's a very smart person. She's educated. She has a doctorate. She could go straight. But she's never going to be able to hide. She could still become a model, an actress, decide to just go back into therapy. She could do lots of things, but not be noticed is not on that list. People are always going to notice Harley. Just like people are always going to notice albinos in real life, or if you have a disability. They're always going to see you. Now, maybe it's a good thing in some ways that these people who are absolute stick out from the crowds are shown as being just blending in. Maybe that's a nice comment that everybody can get along. That's not how things work. Particularly isn't how things work when there's a reward on someone's head from the state because they have escaped prison, or because they're wanted for a crime. And yet, for the storylines to work, they have to be out amongst us. And we're just supposed to ignore the fact that nobody seems to be noticing them, that people aren't dropping a dime on them every day because they see Harley Quinn walking down the street and they know that she's wanted by the police or some other criminal organization for that. There are people who themselves are ne'er-do-wells who might drop a dime to organize crime. Now, I realize being Joker's girlfriend does come with a certain cachet, does come with a certain level of protection, but it's not infinite. And she could be used as a bargaining chip against him if he cared, which he probably doesn't. When you come right down to it, he's going to sell out Harley in a heartbeat because he's a criminal boss and he's insane. Really insane. He kills people for pleasure. So that kind of glaring example just kind of bugs me. I can remember I read a comic years ago, I think I might have reviewed it here, where this guy robbed a bank and he's got this superpower that was supposed to like make it so that no one would remember that it was robbed by like a metahuman or something. But the guy was a Siamese twin. He was a co-joined twin. So there's still going to be footage of a co-joined twin out there in the world somewhere robbing a bank. You don't blend in as a co-joined twin. That rhymed. And you don't blend in as Harley Quinn. That rhymed as well. Well, I didn't even plan that. So we just buy it because it moves the story. And writers are lazy because complexity takes work. I guess maybe that's why they like the Peter Parkers and the Lex Luthors of the world a little more. Because those folks legitimately blend in because they just look like the rest of us.